are marking hexagons that go all the way up to and look at this wonderful border. Okay, so now I've blocked my stitches here. I'm going to go ahead and I am going to stay on the inside of that copper. And I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. I'm at 12 stitches per inch. And again, I don't want to cover the copper. I simply want to just go on the outside, or I'm sorry, the inside in this case, of the copper. So in other words, I have 2 ditching lines, so to speak. So I'm going to go in there, and that's where that laser comes in so handy. I'm going to go ahead, go 1, 2, 3. Then whatever design I put in there, I can use that line as the traveler, and it won't interrupt the integrity of the metallic thread visually. 3, and then again, down, 1, 2, 3, stop, 1, 2, 3, stop, 1, 2, 3, stop, turn, and I'm going to do this all the way over in each of the hexagons all the way down. Now, let me get rid of that tail, if I were actually doing this in copper metallic, putting filler in, I wouldn't have to do that. I could simply go ahead and do whatever design I was going to do. But I'm going to go ahead and just kind of keep it just a little bit more mellow by going ahead and using the other. Now I'm going to come back here, and what I'm going to do to work from Hexie to Hexie, and you can see that kind of inner echoes right on inside the copper line, so that now if I do curved crosshatch or something like that in there, I can travel on that inner line and it won't interfere. It's not covering up my copper. Okay, so now I'm going to drag. So remember, when we drag, we simply drag, but we don't go any further than where we're going when we're going to lock on. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to lock on. 1, 2, 3, stop, pivot, 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 get rid of my snips, 1, 2, 3, again, right inside that line. 1, 2, 3, all the way around, and then I'm going to go from Hexie to Hexie to Hexie. Okay, so here we're going to move into our hexagons. So on this center hexagon, what I'm going to do, I have my crosshatch already in place. I'm going to do curved crosshatch, but I'm not going to do a double curved crosshatch where I go all the way across and then all the way up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do crosshatch up to the center, crosshatch over to the center, crosshatch down to the center, curve over to the center. So I'm going to have it going in from all 4 sides until I get to the center. I'm not going to cross over and take it all the way up, and that's going to give a really wonderful middle design here. On the side ones, what I'm going to do on the 2 next to them is I went in 1/2 inch and I marked a line. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ditch that line just to give a little bit of negative space on the inside there for a little more interest. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put the same filler that we used out here, in here, and in here. And then what I'll do is I will repeat this on the way out. So the next one over here would of course be this same design, and again the next one over here would be this same design, and then I just do from the middle out every other one repeating until I get to the end. Okay, so I've got my stitches locked. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here. I'm going to use my small curve 2 because I want a nice curve on this specialty curved crosshatch. And I'm going to want a 1/2 of an inch. So I'm going to go 1/4 inch, and I've got, obviously the tape is on there at 1/4 inch, and I have a 1/4 inch hopping foot, ruler foot. Remember, whenever you're using rulers, again, you're going to want to have a ruler foot on as well as your extended base. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put it on precision. I'm going to come down, and now I'm going to go over, 2, 3. I'm going to move this out of the way. I'm going to come up a little further than I think I need to. Now I'm staying in that thick line that we just made inside the hexagon. And I'm going to come up, and again I'm going to take this to a 1/4 inch. And that's going to give me a 1/2 of an inch. And then I'm going to come back. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to slide up that side, stay in that thick line, slide up, line it up, make sure that I'm back here, lined up, and now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to come down. 1, 2, 3. Now to finish this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, I am going to get rid of that light so that we can use our camera B without all the glare. Okay, so now I'm going to slide up 1/4 inch, which is going to make it a 1/2 of an inch. Come down. 1, 2, 3. Slide up, stay in that thick line, up, line it up back here, come down. 1, 2, 3. Now I'm done there because that's as far up as I want to go towards that center. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go from the side. Now what I actually want to do on the side is I'm going to line that up, make sure that it's lined up, and I've got a line going straight across there, there, to there, and I have a chalk mark there. I know that if I go to a 1/4, I'm actually going to run into that. So I'm actually going to go ahead and I'm going to take that up to a 1/2. So on both sides, it'll be the first line will be at 3/4 of an inch. Okay, so now I'm going to slide up, and let me line that up a little bit better. Okay, so now we're going to go 1, 2, 3, slide up in the thicker line, and now I'll revert back to my 1/2 of an inch. Okay, so slide that up in there, come back, 1, 2, 3, slide into that thick part, stop, 1/4 of an inch, make sure I'm lined up back here. 1, 2, 3, slide up. And again, you can see how with that thick line I can just go ahead and travel up without grabbing my ditch ruler every time. And you'll get to the point where you can do that. You feel comfortable. Most of the time it's not that you can't do it, it's just that you don't feel comfortable doing it. 1, 2, and I'm only going to do 2 there because on this side what I'm going to do is 1, 2, 3, 4, And that's all for that side. I'm not going to go in a fifth time. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to line this up, and instead of going behind my hopping foot, what I'm actually going to do, which would make it a little awkward and uncomfortable to hold, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to go in front of. So what I did was I made marks here, and we're going to zero in. So we're going to zoom in on that. So give us just a second. We'll get you a better camera angle. Good. So now what we're going to do is here, even though we're going to a half of an inch, because I'm using this on the inside, I measure down 3/4 of an inch. Yep, 3/4 of an inch. I had to double check that, make sure that was right, because if I measure down 3/4 of an inch and when I put my ruler there, I've got the hopping foot, so that's going to go in 1/4 of an inch. And so then I'm going to have the right spot. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is travel up, get that out of the way for a second. I'm going to line this up, take it to that 3/4 of an inch right there, make sure that my line is right here. And now I'm going to come right back. 1, 2, 3, travel down, and then I'm going to go to my next line, of course, and make sure I line that up, and I'll do this on all of these lines. So I put my marks right where my ruler is going to go, which means I'll be 1/4 inch up and it's going to hit in the right spot. You kind of have to think a little bit ahead. Travel down the thick line, put my ruler in place. Well, that wouldn't have worked out better, and that'll never happen again. 1, 2, 3. Travel that thick line, put my ruler in place, and that'll be the last line there, I believe. Let me see, that's 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so it's going to go a few more times. Okay, so now I'm going to put that in place, line that up. Okay, so now my whole point is to make sure that they end at right about the same time. So I'm going to go one more. So I'm going to go right about to there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do from the side in. And again, I'm going to back that off. I'm going to take that to a half of an inch, just like we did on this side, and we're going to go in. So now I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to get rid of my blue lines, get a few extra there, get rid of my center one as well, going all the way up. Again, I know nothing's going to go weird with this because this is one of my own hand dyed, so it's stable. I have washed the heck out of it. Okay, oops, got a little couple dots right there. Get rid of that. That'll dry for a minute. So now we're going to move out to the side. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do on these sides. Okay, so now we're going to go in here. We're going to ditch this line all the way around, and then I'm simply going to put the same filler that we put around the Hexies in. I think I'll start up here, down, up. Lock my stitches, off to the side. Let me go over on cruise. One, two, three, and continue that all the way around. Okay, and now I'm going to speed up my cruise and coast. Doing that same feather with echoes and swirls, filling in my space. Keeping the feathers narrow so they fill in a little better. I'm going to go ahead, fill this in with some swirl and echo. And now I'll go into the hook. Swirl out. I'm not going to come all the way out. I'm going to lock my stitches. And I'm going to repeat this on the other side. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to continue and do all the inside portions of the Hexies. Okay, so there we have it. We're going to pull back and we're going to get a nice long shot so you can see the whole border. Okay, so now we're going to take a nice slow sweep and look at this wonderful border. So I can't wait to see your version of the Red Rover. And notice I call it the Red Rover because all of the arms are interlocking, just like when we would play Red Rover. So that Red Rover hexagon design, I want to see your versions.